Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bufnagle the podcast, where we explore entertaining and enlightening discussions of the adventure of life and all things good. From science and technology to history and philosophy to leadership and success. We hope to give you a better understanding of the world and skills for everyone to pursue their own adventure.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to Bufnagle the podcast, where we talk about all things good in the pursuit of the adventure of life. I am Rafe, and, as usual, we're going to have a great show this week because that's what we do here. So I appreciate you being here. You guys are the reason we do all this. You are the world's greatest listeners. You have made us a global top 10% podcast. As usual, you can reach us at bufnagle at bufnagle.com. Remember to share the love, share the buff, give us a 5-star review, subscribe, like, hit the smiley stars, do all those things. Tell a friend to listen, and you will get a free episode. Give us a 5-star review, and tell your friends about it, and put it in the papers, shout it from the rooftops, those sorts of things. In the show notes, you can click a button to buy me a coffee or a new microphone or a lozenge for my voice, something like that. Well, hey, this week, this is a little different, I think. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's the same. It's something along the pursuit of the adventure of life. So, and it is a good thing. So, this is something I read a while back, and it stuck with me. I have a daughter. My wife and I have a daughter. We have a daughter, and Olivia writes. She writes things. She does artsy things, and along with taking care of the little kids and writing stuff and drawing stuff, she writes things, and she actually has a Substack, and I think we may have talked about this here and there on the show before. I think it is entitled something like "Spinning the Goat's Hair," and the subtitle is "Life, Wonder, Beauty, and the Stirring of My Own Heart for God." And she does this monthly, which is about 1/4 as often as she would do it if she were doing it weekly, right? So, and still that requires a lot of time if you are a mother of young children, doing things at home and keeping the domestic world sane and tolerable. So every now and then we get a little notice that something has dropped in her Substack, and it is always a wonderful a foray into what she's thinking. Typically moving essays and, like I said, thoughts on topics that are near to her heart and obviously then near to my heart as well. And this thing I'm going to talk about today isn't actually from her Substack. It appeared in a blog of hers years ago. But I want to talk just first about this goat hair thing, spinning the goat's hair. I had never heard that reference, and so I started looking it up. And she has a little about page on the Substack and tells about why it's called that. And the concept of goat hair shows up in the Bible in Exodus. It's toward the end of Exodus mostly. There's a little bit of goat hair discussion in Samuel, I think. But the spinning of the goat hair, spinning goat hair is in Exodus when Moses is telling the Israelites how to build how to build the things that God has requested them to do. And I'm going to give you part of that. Here's from a translation. What do we have here? The New American Bible Revised Edition, chapter 35. Moses is telling the Israelites what they need to do. Okay, they've done some things. He had the tablets, and then they brought them down, and they broke the tablets, and then there was golden calves and all sorts of stuff like that. And finally, he gets around to telling them how to do the things they were supposed to do. So Moses assembled the whole Israelite community and said to them, "These are the words the Lord has commanded to be observed. On 6 days work may be done, but the 7th day shall be holy to you as the Sabbath of complete rest to the Lord. Anyone who does work on that day shall be put to death." There's something to keep in mind. "You shall not even light a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day." Moses said to the whole Israelite community, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Receive from among you contributions for the Lord. Everyone, as his heart prompts him, shall bring as a contribution to the Lord gold, silver, and bronze, violet, purple, and scarlet yarn, fine linen, and goat hair, There's the first goat hair thing. Ram skin dyed red, tahash skins, acacia wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for fragrant incense, onyx stones, and other gems for mounting on the ephod and on the breastplate. Let every artisan among you come and make all the Lord has commanded: the tabernacle with its tent, its coverings, its clasps, its frames, its bars, its columns, and its pedestals, the ark with its poles, the cover and the curtain veil, the table with its poles and all its utensils, and the showbread, the menorah with its utensils, the lamps and the oil for the light, the altar of the incense with its poles, the anointing oil and the fragrant incense, the entrance curtain for the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar for burnt offering with bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the hanging in the courts with the columns and pedestals, the curtain for the gate of the court, the tent pegs for the tabernacle and for the court and with their ropes, the service cloths for the use in the sanctuary, the sacred vestments for Aaron the priest, and the vestments for his son in their ministry. Okay, that's a lot of stuff to be made, and they are in charge of making that. When the whole Israelite community left Moses' presence, all, as their hearts moved them and their spirit prompted them, just as they were instructed, they brought a contribution to the Lord for the work of the tent of the meeting with all its services and for the sacred vestments. Both the men and the women, all as their hearts prompted them, brought brooches, earrings, rings, necklaces, and various other gold articles. Everyone who could presented an offering of gold to the Lord. Everyone who happened to have violet, purple, or scarlet yarn, fine linen, or goat hair, ram skins dyed red, or tahash skins brought them. Whoever could make a contribution of silver or bronze offered it. And everyone who happened to have acacia wood for any part of the work brought it. All the women, here's the important part, all the women who were expert spinners brought hand-spun violet, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen thread. All the women, as their hearts and skills moved them, spun goat hair. The tribal leaders brought onyx stones and other gems for mounting on the ephod and the breastplate, as well as spices and oil for the light, anointing oil and fragrant incense. Every Israelite man and woman brought to the Lord such voluntary offerings as they thought best for the various kinds of work which the Lord through Moses had commanded to be done. So that's part of Exodus chapter 35. And there's a couple pieces in here that I think are important. And if you're a member of a congregation that does these that does offerings on a weekly basis, people bring up the offerings every week. We do this kind of thing, and somebody's picked to represent the community, and we bring up the gifts, as we say. And there's a couple things. These people are called to bring what they have as the Spirit and their hearts move them, and they bring their best stuff. They bring gold and silver and bronze, and they bring really nice hand-spun violet, purple, and scarlet yarn, fine thread. All the women, as their hearts and skills move them, spun goat hair. And so there's they're giving these things in offerings to God, but it's interesting to me that the expert women brought hand-spun yarn and fine linen thread, but all the women spun goat hair. And I think what's interesting to me in that context is that the gifts of goat hair are gifts from ordinary people, right? The expert spinners brought the really good stuff, but everybody brought something. And I think the idea is that everybody has a gift to give. Everybody has something that they can bring forth. And the spun goat hair is from ordinary women doing an ordinary thing. Now, I don't know if it's hard to spin goat hair or easy to spin goat hair, exactly why. There's discussion about the value of goat hair when it makes yarn to make a covering for the tent. And I mean, there's all sorts of things you can go into that. But I think in general, I come to this idea from G.K. Chesterton, who says, I'm going to paraphrase this. I don't know if I get it quite right. He says, nothing is more extraordinary than an ordinary man and an ordinary woman living an ordinary life. And it's easy to get caught up in this idea that you have to do something out of this world to be noticed. But it's not about being noticed. It's about fulfilling, we've talked about that here, filling your telos and doing the things you were called to do. And sometimes it's just spinning goat's hair. And I think that's what Olivia writes about. these days in her Substack. We guess we used to call them blogs, but she does the Substack thing now, and I encourage you to subscribe. That'd be a good thing to do. So she wrote this piece that I'm going to share with you here a couple years ago. Yeah, and when she was doing this blog, and we never knew when this thing would come out. It'd be a week, it'd be 10 days, it'd be 3 weeks, and suddenly, boop, something would show up on the little the what do you call it, the blog feed. All of a sudden, it would look different. And one day, this little thing came up, and it's called Garden of Eden, and it goes like this: I have been all over this country. I've been to the foggy, snow-capped mountains of Washington State. I've dipped my toes in the Pacific in Santa Monica. I've driven through the dusty rock side roads of Utah. I've seen South Dakota on foot. I've gazed upwards at the Empire State Building in New York and stared at my own reflection under Chicago's bean. I've sweated my way through swamplands of Florida, and I've seen the sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. I've biked my way across New York State, stood in fields of sunflowers in Kansas, feasted my eyes upon the lush summer greenery of upstate Wisconsin. I've gotten bitten to death by mosquitoes one July in Minnesota. I've heard freedom ringing from the Liberty Bell in the city of brotherly love, and I've marched my way across the Golden Gate on a windy, sunny day in San Francisco. I've seen wildflowers and ravines in the Dust Bowl of Oklahoma, gotten licked by a cow on a dairy farm in Oregon. I've been greeted by friends in Indiana, slept in my grandmother's house in Colorado, and jaunted across Idaho on my way back home to Tennessee. I've been to warm February weddings in Texas, keeping Austin weird, and have driven way down the bayou in Louisiana, south of New Orleans. I've seen art with my father in Boston, perfecting my Italian New England accent when we cut across Rhode Island. I was born in Raleigh, and I've seen the southern charm of Savannah. I've witnessed the bare bones and endless cornfields that are most of this country, and yet are somehow beautiful. But still, nothing beats the feeling of your body being where your heart is. In all these places, my heart's still aching. I was still searching for belonging. And I'd like to say that nothing smells more like home than a parish in the middle of nowhere, its rundown pews creaking as the dust billows out of their cushions, its morning light lending itself to tiny reflections and colors through windows, its single most important candle burning with the smell of beeswax like incense and honey, a beacon within the whole apex, signaling the presence of something inconceivable, something so simple yet beyond any comprehension. Here, in this place, things are a little bit more like the first day in the Garden of Eden, a little bit more like how things were meant to be. Here, heaven has touched earth, and here is home. Here, amid walls of wood and stone and concrete, among paintings and statues and icons, somewhere between bread and wine and Jesus. Anywhere this country has taken me, my heart has ceased its aching. So she wrote this when she was, a college student, reflecting on things she's done and places she has gone. And I know these trips that she discusses. I was mentioned one of these. Yes, that's me. I remember the art trip to Boston. And I remember going through Rhode Island and her practicing her Italian accents there. But what moves me with these stories is the word picture she paints at the end. The creaking wood, the dusty cushions, the morning light, the incense, the honey. If you've ever been in one of those parishes in the middle of nowhere with the dusty cushions and the old pews on a weekday morning when there's no one there but you, this is a picture that brings real peace, that brings real happiness, that brings real contentment. This is the way that we should build our homes. This simplicity, this beauty, this softness and this comfort. So, as one who struggles this Lent and every Lent with a heart of discontentment, I know, as Augustine has said, you made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you. I'm going to encourage you this Lent to seek your home, seek the rest you were made to find, and along the way, seek the good, live virtuously, and therefore flourish, and enjoy the adventure of life.
It's going to be a great day.